Lawton Swan with you, sitting here on a Monday celebrating the life and legacy of Bobby Bowden. So as I mentioned before the break, I obviously did not grow up with Coach Bowden. He was 91 when he passed away over the weekend. I am 44. But Tommy Bowden has been a part of this program since we started on the air, as I mentioned earlier. And if you're watching the show and you're seeing the funny whatever view, don't worry. I'm changing that out. We're going to try something new here at the top of the hour. So just hang with me through the fuzz. But Tommy gave me his dad's number. And he said, call my dad and, just see what's available, see if he can come on the show and we'll do the show together. Like that was the plan. It was going to be Clemson and Florida State, top 5 teams in the country. And I was going to have Bobby and Tommy on, the Bowdens and Swanny for an hour. It was going to be great. And it didn't work out because, as I mentioned earlier, Bobby was eating dinner. But I had to have that call to set this up. And so here I am. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Ring, ring, phone's ringing. And his wife, Ann, answers the phone. And then, I was kind of hoping Coach Bowden was going to answer because then I'm like, hey, Coach, Lawton Swan, Tommy gave me your number. But instead, I morphed into like Bobby's friend who was grown up with him. I felt like it was like, hi, Miss Bowden. Can Bobby come out and play? Like, that's the way this conversation felt. So I'm like, hello, Miss Bowden. This is Lawton Swan. I host a Sports Talk radio show. Tommy gave me your number. Would love a chance to speak with Coach Bowden. I think Tommy probably told him I was going to call. This is the point where you go, this is a fantastic story, Swanny. That's when I hear Coach Bowden, who has, remember when you had a home phone? I know most of you probably don't have a home phone. And if you're real young, you probably really don't remember this. But you could slyly pick up that phone and put it to your ear and just listen. You might even cover up the speaker just so they didn't know. And that's when I heard him say, I got it, Ann. And then we talked for like 10 or 15 minutes about, getting this interview set up and how thankful I was and appreciative and about what he was up to those days. And, as he mentioned, even in the interview, he talked about just being excited to be able to sit back and watch those college football games and not have to stress out on a Saturday and watch whatever he wanted to watch. And, but yeah, that moment when, first off, I had to ask for the permission to speak to him from his wife, to the point where I recognized that he had snuck the phone up and gave me the old, I got it, Ann. And she hung up. Oh man. I felt like, Miss Bowden, can Bobby come out and play? We got to play some football. It was awesome. I mean, it was awesome. 803-450-0086. You got a memory of Coach Bowden, man. We'd love to hear from you on that front. Don't be shy. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you on that front. I just think that, the legacy that he left is, I think, one similar to what Dabo Swinney wants to leave at Clemson. And yeah, there's certainly success is measured by wins and losses for some people, but I don't think that's the end all be all of the program. And, I think if you go back to the audio from Mark Richt's interview with us, where he talked about, and I mentioned this too, where he talked about, being saved at Florida State. I mean, there was a lot going on as it pertains to the off the field part of Florida State's success, as much as there was the on the field stuff. So this week we'll be talking about Coach Bowden for sure. We'll be getting ready for the Clemson Tigers as we head into the college football campaign. Clemson will be kicking it off against the Georgia Bulldogs. There's some breaking news or some recent news on that front for Georgia we'll get to as well. Part of that involving former South Carolina head coach Will Muschamp. We'll give you some of that news and information in hour number 2, plus William Qualkenbush set to join the program at the top of the hour. So again, Having a lot of fun here on a Monday. I hated to get the tragic news over the weekend. I kind of thought when I saw that Terry was going to be leaving Louisiana Monroe and heading over to Tallahassee, and that Rich Rodriguez was going to be running that football club in an interim capacity, that probably we weren't very far off from this moment that we all got yesterday when the news broke about Coach Bowden. And again, I think that, there are very few individuals in this sport who can do what they do and not necessarily be hated by everybody. Like, it's hard to be a winner and not be hated. And to me, he was a winner, but I can't say that I don't think a lot of people hated Bobby Bowden, if that makes sense. Like, I don't, and look, I've always taught my kids not to hate anybody, right? But I'm talking about just in the football sense. Like, I think there are people that genuinely hate Steve Spurrier. There are people that genuinely hate Nick Saban, that hate Dabo Swanny. I don't think there were a ton of people that hated Bobby Bowden. I think most people respected what he built. They knew what he built. He built it from the ground up. And I go back to that, just kind of the way he handled himself. He never seemed to take things too seriously, wins or losses. And there was always a funny little quip along the way that kind of pulled you back to center. And I think people respected that. I truly do. All right. 803-450-0086. I see Anthony's dropping a couple of questions about Mason Trotter, center for Clemson. Talks about it being a big mismatch with Jordan Davis. We'll talk a little bit about that coming up here. I guess we'll kind of dive into that. The offensive line for Clemson a year ago was not spectacular, but this year I like Jordan McFadden at left tackle, really do. And I think that these guys will be a more cohesive unit across the board than they were a year ago. But as we've heard all offseason, man, run, push is key. So wait a quick break here. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. Hour number 2 coming up on the flip side. Stay with us.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia.